Have you ever noticed how the people who praise you the most are usually the ones who want something from you? Hello, I've been dead for over 498 years. I was created by artificial intelligence to teach you about power, manipulation, and human nature. I am not the real person. I am a replica, rebuilt from every speech, every letter, every recorded word left behind. Today we are going to talk about why flattery is one of the most dangerous weapons used against you, how to spot it, and how to protect yourself without becoming paranoid. If you want to learn more about defending yourself from manipulation, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Let me give you some context. I spent my entire career surrounded by rulers, diplomats, and ambitious men in Renaissance Italy, specifically Florence, one of the most politically dangerous cities in the world at that time. For over 14 years, I served as a senior official and diplomat, watching leaders rise and fall. One pattern came up again and again. The leaders who collapsed the hardest were always the ones surrounded by flatterers, people who told them only what they wanted to hear, never the truth, never the hard stuff, just whatever kept them comfortable. This problem bothered me so much that I dedicated an entire chapter of my treatise, The Prince, chapter 23, to flattery and how to avoid it. I called it a plague on leadership, not an annoyance, a plague. I watched it happen in real time. Pope Alexander VI's court was filled with men competing to say the prettiest things, and it led to terrible decisions. I watched Piero Soderini, the leader of Florence, get manipulated because he was too eager to be liked and too willing to accept praise without questioning the motive behind it. The lessons I learned from watching these failures are exactly what I want to share with you now. Let me be honest with you. No one is immune to hearing good things about themselves. This is not a flaw that only weak or foolish people have. It is built into all of us. Every single person enjoys being told they are smart, talented, or important. That is just human nature. But here is where the danger lives. When someone praises you, your guard drops. You start to trust them, not because they earned your trust, but because they made you feel good. That is the trick. A flatterer's real skill is not lying to your face. It is picking which truths to highlight and which ones to bury. They will talk endlessly about your strengths while staying completely silent about your blind spots. And over time, you start to believe this incomplete picture is the full reality. It is not. It is a carefully constructed illusion, and you are the one paying for it. In my treatise, The Prince, I wrote that courts are full of flatterers because people are so self-satisfied with their own qualities that they deceive themselves. Think about that for a moment. The flatterer does not even have to work that hard. You are already halfway there because you want to believe the nice things are true. But a flatterer's goal is never your well-being. It is access, it is influence, it is protection for themselves. They position themselves as your most loyal allies, but their loyalty runs exactly as deep as their personal benefit. The moment you stop being useful to them, watch how fast that praise dries up. Cesare Borgia understood this. He was one of the most effective leaders I studied, and one reason for that was his approach to counsel. He kept advisors around him who were willing to disagree with him. He would ask for blunt opinions on difficult matters, not to feel good, but to make better decisions. He tested people's honesty rather than rewarding their agreeableness. Now compare that to leaders who only surrounded themselves with people who nodded along. Every single one of them eventually made a catastrophic mistake, because when the moment came that required honest input, there was nobody left in the room willing to give it. This is the part most people miss. The worst thing about flattery is not that it inflates your ego. That is bad, but it is not the real threat. The real threat is that flattery drives away honest people. Here is how it works. When a flatterer gains your trust and gets rewarded for telling you pleasant things, the honest people around you take notice. They see that the person who agrees with everything gets promoted, gets access, gets favored. And the person who tells you the uncomfortable truth, they get ignored. Or worse, they get punished. So what do the honest people do? They stop being honest. They either leave or they start flattering you too. Either way, you lose. What you end up with is an information vacuum. You are making decisions, sometimes very important decisions, based on incomplete or outright false information. and you do not even realize it because everyone around you is confirming that you are doing a great job. In The Prince, I specifically warned that there is no way to guard against flattery except by making it clear that telling the truth will not offend you. But I also pointed out a real difficulty here. If everyone feels completely free to tell you the truth whenever they want, you risk losing respect and authority. This is the tension that every leader, every person in a position of power, has to manage carefully. So what do you actually do about this? I laid out a specific method in my treatise, and it works just as well today as it did 5 centuries ago. First, select a small number of trusted people and give only them permission to speak frankly to you, and only when you ask. Do not open the floor to everyone. That leads to noise, confusion, and people offering opinions they are not qualified to give. But make sure that the few people you choose have genuine, real permission to be honest, not fake permission where they technically can disagree, but know they will pay a price for it. Real permission. Second, ask specific questions. Do not walk into a room and say, "What do you think?" That is an open invitation for flattery. Instead, ask pointed questions that require real answers. What could go wrong with this plan? Where is the weakness here? What am I not seeing? These kinds of questions make it much harder for someone to just tell you what you want to hear. Third, watch what people do, not what they say. Flattery lives entirely in words. Loyalty lives in actions. If someone praises you constantly but their behavior tells a different story, trust the behavior every time. Words cost nothing. Actions always reveal the truth. Fourth, test people. Give slightly different information to different advisors and see what comes back. See who challenges your assumptions and who simply agrees. Over time, this will show you exactly who is being honest and who is performing. In my time, flattery happened face to face. You could at least look someone in the eye. You could read their body language. You had some chance of catching the performance. Today, flattery comes through screens. It comes through social media. It comes through algorithms that are literally designed to show you what makes you feel good and hide what makes you uncomfortable. The modern version of a court full of flatterers is a social media feed that only confirms what you already believe. People now surround themselves with digital flatterers, followers, likes, comments, that create the same distorted reality I warned about 500 years ago. The principle has not changed at all. If you only hear what pleases you, you will eventually make a decision that destroys you. The people who succeed long-term are the ones who actively seek out disagreement and discomfort in their information diet. I want to be clear about something. I am not telling you to distrust every compliment or become hostile toward anyone who says something nice about you. That would be foolish and isolating. Genuine appreciation is specific. It is earned, and it usually comes without a request attached to it. Someone tells you that a particular piece of your work was strong and explains why. That is real. That has substance. Flattery is the opposite. It is vague, excessive, and almost always shows up right before someone asks for something. Learn to notice the pattern. Does this person praise you and then make a request? Do they only ever agree with you? Do they shower you with compliments in front of others but never once challenge you in private? A true ally will praise you when you deserve it and correct you when you need it. A flatterer will only ever do the first. Once you learn to see that difference, you will never be an easy target again. Here is the bottom line. Flattery is not a compliment. It is a tool of manipulation. The only real defense against it is deliberately building honesty into your relationships. The goal is not to become suspicious of everyone. It is to create an environment where truth reaches you before disaster does. I wrote about this nearly 500 years ago, and it still matters because human nature has not changed. People still want to hear pleasant things, and others still exploit that desire. Remember, the strongest person in any room is not the one receiving the most praise. It is the one who knows which praise to ignore. If this helped you see flattery differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it.